All right, here we go. We got a big day tomorrow. Today, depending on what time of night it is where you are, or what time of the morning it is where you are. That's right, Saturday, and everybody's back. We've got 13 games on Saturday and then on Sunday because it's Super Bowl day. All the games are really early. That means tomorrow, midday, look for a preview for Sunday's game so I don't have to stay up late doing the Sunday board and getting the Sunday games done. Like I'm staying up late tonight to make sure I get Saturdays out there. All right, that clear as mud. We're going to start off with Vancouver and against Colorado Avalanche. This is going to be a very interesting matchup between two teams that could go either way after the All-Star break. They really could. And they're both making their return to the ice. Vancouver's 23-22-6. They're 4-4-2 in their last 10. They lost their last game. On the road, they're 11-12-3 versus the West, they're 12-11-4. Everything's mediocre for Vancouver, and now they spend 7 of their next 9 away from home, because of course they do. And Colorado's going to be a good test, because Colorado is one of those wild card teams that's kind of clinging to a spot. They're 22-20-8. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They've lost 2. Have I mentioned they're not clinging very well? If this was in the East, they would have been out already, meaning they've won 22 out of 50 games this year. At home, they're 10-8-5, and versus the West, they're an abysmal 9-13-6. So when you look at this, it'd be easy to say, oh, well, Colorado should win that. But when you actually get into the numbers, even though Colorado's got this dominant first line, it really hasn't been a dominant season for them at all. Ever since that huge loss in Tampa, it's been bombs away and in the wrong direction. Leading scorers for Vancouver, Patterson, 23 goals, 22 assists. Horvat, 18 goals, 21 assists. 23 assists for 41 points, Besser, 16 goals, 18 assists. Goldobin's still in there, 5 goals, 18 assists, and it shows the lack of scoring depth for Vancouver. Goldobin's in the doghouse, so he's been sitting with that total for a while. Edler, 5 goals, 15 assists. Eriksson, 9 goals, 11 assists. Vertanen, 11 goals, 8 assists. Roussel, 5 goals, 14 assists. Granlund, 8 goals, 9 assists, I should say. And Hutton, 5 goals, 12 assists, rounds out your top 10. On the Colorado side of things, Rantanen, 23 goals, 51 assists. McKinnon, 27 goals, 44 assists. Landeskog, 29 goals, 25 assists. They're broken up tomorrow. As I mentioned in the news video today, they're broken up. We'll see how long it takes before Bednar goes, nah, you guys are back together. Barry, 6 goals, 33 assists. Soderberg, 17 goals, 14 assists. Kerfoot, 9 goals, 17 assists. JT Compher, 10 goals, 10 assists. Calvert, 7 goals, 11 assists. Wilson, who's on one of those top 2 lines, 9 goals, 7 assists. And Nieto, 4 goals, 11 assists, rounds out your top 10 for Colorado. Goaltenders, no confirmation, so I'll go ahead and guess. Demko is 1-0-0, 3.02 goals against, 923 save percentage. He'll be the backup is my guess. Markstrom will start. 19-13-5, 2.84 goals against, 908 save percentage. And Markstrom's been pretty solid for Vancouver this year since the losing streak. But if you look at the record over the last 10, they've only won 4. So as solid as Markstrom has been, it's been a work in progress for Vancouver, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Because I expect Varlamov for Colorado. He's 13-12-5, 2.82 goals against. Also has a 908 save percentage. That'd make Grubauer the backup at 9-6-3, 3.38 goals against, 891 save percentage. Goaltending has been an issue for Colorado. They're in a position where I wonder if Joe Sakic going to try to address it soon. In the form of, does Varlamov walk? And we're talking about where Bobrovsky may go. Why not Denver? I haven't heard Denver's name mentioned, but why not? If Varlamov's going to expire, if his contract's going to go, if they're not going to bring him back, why wouldn't Bobrovsky go to Colorado? Look at all the scoring he'd have in front of him, at least that first line. I think it'd be an interesting development, but again, Grubauer is kind of seen as the goalie of the future. We know how well that tends to work out, and we'll see. Also, next up, let's go Dallas. Dallas is in against Nashville. Dallas goes out on the road, which is bad news. Dallas has been winning, so of course we're going to go out on the road now, and things are going to go as they're going to go. They're 26-21-4. They've moved up to third spot in their division, and they're playing against the second place team in their division, meaning this could potentially be a playoff preview. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They've won 3 in a row. On the road, they're 9-13-2. They've got to turn that around. Versus the West, they're 16-10-2. Now, Nashville's 31-8-4. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They've also won 3 in a row. At home, they're 16-9, and versus the West, they're 15-13-1. They definitely struggle more against the West than they do against the East. So that's good news for Dallas. If Dallas can go in and get a goal early on them, we'll see. But Nashville coming out of that win over Florida, Dallas coming out of that win over Minnesota, at least they're both coming into this game feeling kind of good about themselves. Although I do like Nashville's depth better than Dallas's. I do. And their blue line. The one edge I would kind of give to Dallas would be goaltending, but it's only just barely because I expect Pekka Rinne to play tomorrow. And I think, the All-Star break, even though he played in the All-Star game, I think that'll help him rejuvenate himself for the post-All-Star break part of the season. Sagan is your leading scorer for Dallas, 20 goals, 27 assists. Radulov, 14 goals, 17 assists. Ben, 19 goals, 16 assists. Klingberg, 6 goals, 19 assists. Heiskanen, 9 goals, 12 assists. He did get an assist tonight, so there you go. Lindell, 7 goals, 14 assists. Spets is stuck at 6 goals, 15 assists. Foxa, 8 goals, 9 assists. Janmark, 3 goals, 13 assists. Cogliano's on the board at 4 goals, 9 assists for the Dallas Stars. On the Nashville side, Ryan Johansson. Damn it, Doug McLean. Ryan Johansson, 9 goals, 35 assists. Yossi, 9 goals, 29 assists. Ekholm, 6 goals, 31 assists. Forsberg, 18 goals, 14 assists. Fiala, 9 goals, 20 assists for him now. Arvidsson, 21 goals, 7 assists. Bonino, 14 goals, 13 assists. Craig Smith, 14 goals, 11 assists. Ellis, 5 goals, 19 assists. And Sissons is on the board at 10 goals, 12 assists to round out your top 10. Goaltenders, I expect Hudobin tomorrow because Bishop started tonight. Hudobin's 8-9-2, 2.46 goals against, 922 save percentage. Bishop, 18-12-2, 2.25 goals against, 924 save percentage. It really hasn't made a big difference who's playing for Dallas. The one thing I'll say is they play better for Bishop than they do for Hudobin, or so it seems, because Hudobin's record is worse, even those numbers are pretty darn close to what Bishop's are. Rinne is the one I expect for Nashville. He's 18-12-3, 2.47 goals against, 915 save percentage. Saros is 13-6-1 now with a 2.5 goals against, 916 save percentage. Saros' numbers are right up there with Rinne's. I expect Rinne, though, to start getting it going. Again, with Dallas's record on the road, I really couldn't in good faith take them as a team that's going to win this one tomorrow night. I just can't. And yet, I would be very happy to see Dallas go on some kind of a run. Although my biggest fear with Dallas is that they eke their way into the playoffs and they get killed in the first round. And then Jim Nill can stand there at the end of the year and go, we're headed in the right direction. Like, oh, no. So that's my biggest fear is, when a GM stands there and goes, oh, no, we're fine. Because we made the playoffs, we're fine. Oh, nuts. All right, next up, Vegas. The Vegas Golden Knights coming off of a third loss in a row. Very unusual for them. They're going in against Florida, so they have a good chance of turning it around. Vegas is 29-20-4 now. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They've lost 3 in a row. On the road, they're down below 500 again, so they're 13-14-1. Took them a long time to climb above 500. Now they're back below it. Versus the East, they're 12-10-2. So versus the East, they're not as solid as they are against the West. Doesn't bode well for tomorrow, but they're against Florida. Florida's 20-21-8. They're 3-5-2 in their last 10. They lost today. At home, they're 10-7-5, and versus the West, they're a woeful 5-9-2. So Florida looks like a team that Vegas should be able to take out tomorrow as their revenge for having lost against Carolina. And it's the first game of a four-game road trip through the East, and we'll see how it goes for them. This is the second game. Tonight was the first. Scoring leaders for Vegas, Tuck, 16 goals, 24 assists, did not get a point tonight, but he has now points in, I think, 12 of 14 games. Marchessault, 17 goals, 18 assists. Carlson, 16 goals, 16 assists. Pacioretty, 15 goals, 13 assists. Riley Smith, 9 goals, 18 assists. Eakin, 13 goals, 13 assists. Theodore, 8 goals, 16 assists. Miller, 2 goals, 19 assists. Stastny, 6 goals, 13 assists. And Nate Schmidt, with 4 goals and 14 assists, rounds out your top 10. On the Florida side, Huberdeau, 13 goals, 37 assists. Barkov, 17 goals, 30 assists. Hoffman, 23 goals, 19 assists. Dadonov, 18 goals, 23 assists. Yandel, 7 goals, 32 assists. Vetrano, 16 goals and 10 assists. Ekblad, 10 goals, 11 assists. Trocheck, 5 goals, 13 assists. Matheson, 4 goals, 13 assists. And there's Derek Brassard with 9 goals and 6 assists for the Florida Panthers. Goaltenders, I expect Fleury, because Legacy started tonight. He's 0-1 with a 4.03 goals against, 871 save percentage. Marc-Andre Fleury, 27, 14, and 4. 2.49 goals against, 911 save percentage. On the Florida side, I expect Reimer because Luongo started tonight. Luongo's 10, 12, and 1. 3.17 goals against, 895 save percentage. That is low for him. Reimer, 9, 8, and 5. 3.15 goals against, 896 save percentage. So goaltending's been an issue with Florida. It is a big part of the reason why they're in a rebuild. I wouldn't be surprised to see some more players getting traded out. I don't know how much what's going on with Florida is going to be them clearing the deck to try to bring guys in during the summer, or them just clearing the deck just for the sake of doing it. And then by October, we're talking about they've got a bunch of cap space, and they can use that as a way of making really good trades. Even if, let's just say they fail in both getting Panarin and Bobrovsky, but they have a bunch of cap space, there's a way to use that to your advantage when it comes to the trade table. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Florida from here. And for Vegas, I'm still looking for a rental with Vegas. I think Vegas and George McPhee would acknowledge they need to be just a little bit better than what they are right now if they want to have any hope of repeating last year's run, and they don't look like last year's team. It has not been a repeat at all on any level yet. Next up, New Jersey. The Devils, 19, 24, and 7. They're in against the Montreal Canadiens, who are 28, 18, and 5. The Devils, playing spoilers, not particularly well. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They lost their last game. On the road, they're 6, 17, and 3 in versus the East. They're 11, 18, and 3. Those numbers are all just bad. Montreal, 6-4 in their last 10. They won their last game. At home, they're 14, 10, and 2. Versus the East, they're 16, 9, and 5. And it feels like Montreal hasn't played in ages, because they kind of sort of haven't. And we'll see how that affects them early on tomorrow. New Jersey should be looking to jump on them since it's Montreal coming out of the break. The leading scorers for New Jersey. First up is Palmieri at 23 goals, 16 assists. Taylor Hall, 11 goals, 26 assists. Hischier, 14 goals, 20 assists. Zajac, 12 goals, 19 assists. Coleman, 18 goals, 11 assists. Severson, 7 goals, 18 assists. Bratt, 4 goals, 16 assists for him for 20 points. Johansson, 8 goals, 11 assists. Boyle, 13 goals, 6 assists, and Butcher's still in there at 2 goals and 16 assists for the New Jersey Devils. On the Montreal side, Domi still leads the way. 16 goals, 28 assists for him. Tatar, 16 goals, 22 assists. Drouin, 14 goals, 23 assists. Petrie, 10 goals, 25 assists. Danault, 8 goals, 25 assists. Gallagher, 19 goals, 11 assists. Shaw, 11 goals, 13 assists. Lehkonen, 7 goals, 16 assists. Kotkaniemi, 6 goals, 17 assists. And Paul Byron with 10 goals, 8 assists rounds out your top 10. Goaltenders, I confirmed one because I've read all day that he's starting, even though, according to Daily Faceoff, they haven't confirmed it yet, but he's starting. On the New Jersey side, it's not confirmed, but I'll say Blackwood. Kincaid started the last one. Blackwood's 5-4, 2.41 goals against, 923 save percentage, whereas Kincaid, 14, 15, and 6, 3.12 goals against, 898 save percentage. The Montreal side, I would be shocked if Niemi is not the starter. 8, 5, and 1, 3.66 goals against, 893 save percentage. They called up McNiven to be his backup. Price, of course, has to sit out, cannot even be dressed as a backup because he skipped the All-Star game. So this is his game to miss. 20 wins, 13 losses, 4 overtime or shootout losses for Price. 2.56 goals against, 915 save percentage for the Montreal Canadiens. Not bad for them. And even though it's Niemi, and you could argue that makes it a bit more of a case for New Jersey, I honestly, I think Montreal probably wins this one tomorrow. It's going to come down to how well Montreal plays coming out of the break. The break has been brutal for some teams. You know, it took Tampa Bay a while to get started after, well, they had the fast start against Pittsburgh, and then they fell into a malaise, and then they came out of it again at the end of the game, and they lost that game. So for Montreal, they have to avoid a similar deal where you might have an energy up front, you then lose that energy in the middle of the game, and you have to mount some kind of a comeback late. Even though New Jersey's not a team I'm overly concerned about if I'm Montreal, you've got to worry about the fact that you haven't played in a while. Next up, Detroit and Ottawa. So this is a battle of the have-nots. This is one of those somebody has to win games. And yet, when you're looking at their records, one of them's playing pretty well, and the other one's Ottawa. And that's just how it's been working lately. On the Detroit side, they're 20, 25, and 7. 5-5 in their last 10. They've won 2 in a row. On the road, they're 9, 13, and 3. Versus the East, they're 11, 16, and 6. So Detroit's been playing well enough lately, but on the road, it's a little bit of a different story, and we'll see how that story plays out in Ottawa, because Ottawa's been, there's the dumpster, there's the fire. That's just from Melnick. 19, 27, and 5 is their record. They're 4 and 6 in their last 10. They've lost 3 in a row. At home, they're 12, 10, and 4 versus the East, they're 12, 17, and 2. So the Ottawa Senators have a lot of work to do in order to make their record respectable. And somehow they're at the bottom of the league, even though we can look at the record and go, they're probably better than last year. They're still likely to be dead last in the league, however. Leading scorers for Detroit, of course, it's Dylan Larkin with 22 goals, 27 assists. Nyquist, 12 goals, 33 assists. Athanasiou, 17 goals, 16 assists now for Andreas Athanasiou. Bertuzzi, 13 goals, 15 assists. Nielsen, 8 goals, 20 assists. Vanek, 10 goals, 14 assists. Mantha, 12 goals, 8 assists. Green, 4 goals, 15 assists. Glendening, 8 goals, 9 assists. And Cholowski, 7 goals and 9 assists for Detroit. There are a couple of times I watched Cholowski tonight, and I saw him making just rookie errors. And I do think that he hasn't really hit a wall, but I do wonder if he's going to spend the entire season playing for Detroit, if he's going to end up in the press box at some point, or if they're going to... Can you do an emergency loan with him? I don't think you can because of his age. Anyways, Cholowski, we'll see where he ends up in the scheme of things over the next couple of years for Detroit. He looked great early, and right now he does look like a rookie. On the Ottawa side of things, Stone, 22 goals, 29 assists. Duchesne, 21 goals, 27 assists. And Dzingel, 20 goals, 19 assists. It is suitable that their scorers 1, 2, and 3 because they're expected to be gone. At least 2 of the 3 are expected to end up getting traded. We don't have any idea which 2, but the expectation is 2 of them will end up going. Shabbat, 10 goals, 29 assists. Tierney, 6 goals, 27 assists. Ryan, 12 goals, now 19 assists. Bodker, 6 goals, 22 assists. White, 11 goals, 15 assists. Brady Tkachuk, 11 goals, 12 assists. Remember when Tkachuk early in the year was putting up all those goals? Yeah. Smith, 5 goals, 14 assists, rounds out your top 10 for the Senators. On the Detroit side, I expect Bernier in net. He's 5-12 and 2, 3.52 goals against, 892 save percentage, because Howard played tonight. Howard's 15, 13 and 5, 2.73 goals against, 915 save percentage. I also expect Anderson for the Ottawa Senators because Nilsson played tonight. Nilsson 7, 12 and 1, 2.88 goals against, 906 save percentage. Those numbers took a hit tonight against the Penguins. Anderson's 14, 15 and 3, 3.55 goals against. Also has a 906 save percentage for the Senators. So while it is a game between two teams that are rebuilding, the interesting thing is looking at their top scorers, looking at their goaltenders, and asking yourself which players will be gone as of February 25th. Which players are going to get moved out, which ones are going to stay. So for that reason, even though there may not be a lot of people watching this game at home, there may not be a lot of people with a stake in this, I have a funny feeling there will be a lot of scouts in that arena tomorrow night. That being said, let's move on. Pittsburgh. The Penguins, who sometimes look like the Stanley Cup champions of 2016-2017. Other times, they look like a team that doesn't have a whole lot of interest in making the playoffs. Sometimes in the same week. And so we're going to see which team shows up tomorrow night against the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Penguins are 28, 17, and 6. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They've won 2 in a row. On the road, they're 13, 8, and 4. Versus the East, they're 13, 10, and 5. The Toronto Maple Leafs, on the other hand, are 30, 17, and 3. They're 4, 5, and 1 in their last 10. They lost their last game. At home, they're 14-11-1, and versus the East, they're 18-10-3. So Toronto has a chance to turn things around tomorrow against the Pittsburgh Penguins after that one loss and show that it's just one loss. There's nothing to see here, nothing to be worried about. And what better team to show you're turning it around than against the Pittsburgh Penguins? Crosby leads the Penguins in scoring, of course, 22 goals, 38 assists. Kessel, 21 goals, 36 assists. Malkin's third in scoring. He's not playing tomorrow night. That's the rumor. 14 goals, 41 assists. Jake Gensel now has 26 goals, 23 assists. Letang, 12 goals, 31 assists. Hornquist, 15 goals, 11 assists. Rust now has 14 goals and 12 assists. Simone, 7 goals, 14 assists. McCann, 8 goals, 10 assists. And Dumoulin, 1 goal, 16 assists, rounds out your scores for the Pittsburgh Penguins. On the Toronto side, Mitch Marner leads the way with 20 goals, 42 assists. Tavares, 30 goals, 24 assists. Riley, 13 goals, 38 assists. Matthews, 22 goals, 23 assists. Kadri, 13 goals, 19 assists. Kapanen, 15 goals, 15 assists. Marleau, 12 goals, 12 assists. Gardner, 2 goals, 22 assists. Janssen, 10 goals, 12 assists. Jake Muzzin rounds out your top 10 with 4 goals, 17 assists for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Goaltenders, I expect Murray because DeSmith played tonight. DeSmith's 13-9-4 now with a 2.69 goals against, 917 save percentage. Murray 15-7-1, 2.96 goals against, 910 save percentage. And if Murray plays, is it the good Murray? Is it the not good Murray? That's the question. The goaltender for Toronto, I expect Sparks because it's a back-to-back. Anderson is 22-11-2 now with a 2.57 goals against, 922 save percentage. Sparks is 6-3-1, 2.91 goals against, 907 save percentage. While I expect Sparks, since they've had so long off and tonight was their first game in a while, you could see Anderson play a back-to-back. This is one time during the season that it is possible. And with Pittsburgh, I guess you could see DeSmith again, but Pittsburgh's been playing for a bit here, and there's no need to be playing a goaltender in back-to-back games if you don't have to. And Murray, again, when he's good, he's pretty fantastic, and then he can be pedestrian other nights. So it is a real roller coaster with him, and kind of has been with the Penguins all year. But honestly, think about this. If Pittsburgh somehow ended up being the number 2 wild card, and they were the first-round matchup for the Tampa Bay Lightning, who do you take? That's one heck of a series if that ends up happening, especially in the first round. Tampa, you've got the best record in the league. Here's the Penguins. Pardon? Yeah, that could be a war. All right, next up, Minnesota. So the Wild find themselves as a wild card team now rather than third in the division because of the loss at home or loss on the road tonight against Dallas. They have a chance to take that back. If Dallas loses in Nashville, if Minnesota wins in Chicago, things switch back to the way they were, which it wouldn't surprise me if that necessarily happened. But Minnesota is kind of showing that mediocrity again. They're 26-22-3 overall. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They lost their last game, and scoring is becoming an issue. On the road, they're 13-13 versus the West. They're 18-13-2. So their numbers overall are not fantastic. They are kind of mediocre numbers overall. Chicago seems to think they still have a shot at this, and it's because there are so many teams ahead of them that look mediocre. They're 19-24-9, which is not good. They've won 19 and lost 33. They've won 19 out of 52 games, and we can still talk about them being in the hunt. They're 4-3-3 in their last 10. They've won 3 in a row. At home, they're 10-10-6, and versus the West, they're 10-14-6. So all their numbers you look at and you go, I don't know, they've only won 4 of their last 10. That's enough. That's enough to catch up to some of the other teams in the West. Minnesota's leading scorers, Zach Parise, 20 goals, 24 assists. Granlund, 12 goals, 30 assists. Stahl, 17 goals, 20 assists. Suter, 6 goals, 27 assists. Spurgeon, 8 goals, 21 assists. Koivu, 7 goals, 21 assists. Coyle, 9 goals, 17 assists. Zucker, 13 goals, 12 assists for him. Dumba, 12 goals, 10 assists. Of course, he's out for forever, it seems. Aberg, 11 goals, 11 assists, rounds out your top 10 for the Minnesota Wild. On the Chicago side of things, Kane is miles ahead of everybody else. 31 goals and 44 assists. Taves, 22 goals, 27 assists. DeBrincat, 25 goals, 19 assists. Gustafsson, 8 goals, 23 assists. Saad, 17 goals, 12 assists. Strome, 12 goals, 15 assists. Anisimov, 8 goals, 14 assists. Keith, 2 goals, 20 assists. Cahoon, 8 goals, 12 assists. And Seabrook rounds out your top 10 with 5 goals and 15 assists for the Chicago Blackhawks. In net, I expect Stalock in this one for Minnesota because Dubnyk played tonight. Dubnyk's 20, 17 and 3 now with a 2.55 goals against, 914 save percentage. Stalock, 6 and 5, 2.92 goals against, 894 save percentage. On the Chicago side, Ward played tonight. I expect Delia tomorrow. Ward's 9, 8 and 4, 3.83 goals against, 890 save percentage. Delia's 4, 2 and 2, 3.00 goals against, 923 save percentage. And I do think that Chicago, they may have a shot because look at the guys who are driving this. You look at Kane, you look at Taves, and you see two guys who are warriors, and they never want to be out of it. And I think with Jonathan Taves, since so many people wrote him off, yours truly included, as a top-tier center in the NHL after last year and the year before, I think he came in with something to prove, and I think he's done pretty well at proving us all wrong. And meanwhile, Patrick Kane is inserting himself into the Art Ross discussion with those 75 points. He is 4 points short of Kucherov right now. And I'm not betting against him catching him. He's got 25 points in his last 11 games. So Patrick Kane, because he's in Chicago, because their overall record is poor, it's easy to miss that he's having a great season. And if Chicago gets anywhere near the playoffs, it's because of him. It really is. But there you go. I'm going to go ahead and change boards. And then we'll come back and we'll look at the other 6 games. All right. At 1:19 a.m. my time, we're keeping it going. Edmonton and Philadelphia is next up on the board, and this is a matchup between two teams that were expected to probably be better. Although Edmonton didn't have the expectations this year they had the year before, Philadelphia kind of sort of had expectations to be at least playing really important games right now, and they're really kind of not. The Oilers are 23, 24, and 3. They've been a disappointment. They're 4 and 6 in their last 10. They've lost 3 in a row. On the road, they're 11, 11, and 2 versus the East. They're 8, 8, and 1. Philadelphia 22, 23, and 6. Just as disappointing. 7 and 3 in their last 10. They've won 6 in a row. So the difference is Philly's winning games to get up to this record. Edmonton's losing games to get down to that record. Things look a little bit better when you look at Philadelphia's future than in Edmonton right now. At home, Philadelphia is 11, 10, and 3, and versus the West, they're 10, 9, and 3. So those numbers have been getting progressively better. Winning every game will do that. Leading scorers, McDavid leads the Oilers with 29 goals, 44 assists. Draisaitl, 27 goals, 34 assists. Nugent-Hopkins, 16 goals, 30 assists. Chason, 17 goals, 7 assists. Nurse, 6 goals, 18 assists. Kara, 3 goals, 12 assists. Klefbom, who's going to be out forever, suffered a setback in his return from injury, and it's going to be a longer time off for him. So Klefbom, 15 points. Larson's next at 1 goal, 12 assists. Lucic, 5 goals, 7 assists, and Benning, 2 goals and 8 assists. And just back on the Klefbom thing, if it wasn't for bad luck, the kid would have no luck at all this year. And it's been too bad because Klefbom's one of my favorite defensemen, and I really think that the absence of Oscar Klefbom in their lineup has been a major problem for the Edmonton Oilers and a big part of the reason why everything's fallen apart for them. He played a lot of minutes, and with him out, I just don't think they have a strong enough blue line. Leading scorers for Philly, Giroux, 15 goals, 38 assists. Voracek, 11 goals, 31 assists. Couturier, 19 goals, 22 assists. Konechny, 13 goals, 16 assists. Simmons, 15 goals, 8 assists. Van Riemsdyk, 13 goals, 10 assists. Gostisbehere, 5 goals, 15 assists. Lawton, 7 goals, 12 assists. Patrick, 9 goals, 8 assists for him. And Lindblom, 7 goals, 10 assists. Goaltenders, Talbot's been confirmed for tomorrow. Koskinen will be the backup, 14, 11, and 1. 2.79 goals against, 910 save percentage. Talbot's 9, 13, and 2, 3.27 goals against, 894 save percentage. And for Oiler fans, I got some good news for you. There's rumors running around that the Oilers could look at re-signing and keeping Cam Talbot. Yeah, that would honestly be mildly entertaining if they kept Talbot and Koskinen as the tandem next year. And then you have people, you'd have management, whoever they hire, going, this is going to be a better team than last year, and Oiler fans going, I don't see the difference. I don't know what dramatic change Evans is going to make, but they got to make something different. I expect Carter Hart tomorrow. He's 8-5-1, 2.48 goals against, 922 save percentage, and a major reason they've won 6 in a row. Stolars 3-3-2, 3.44 goals against, 896 save percentage. Excellent as the backup. McKenna likely gets waived. What do they do when Neuwirth comes back? And then if/when Elliott comes back. Yeah, Philly's got a lot of goaltenders, and they need to start sharing them because there's other teams that need goaltenders. So we'll see what happens there. All right, next up, Arizona. The Coyotes are in against the San Jose Sharks. And while this looks like it's a lopsided matchup, and it kind of sort of is, Arizona went into the break playing some pretty solid hockey. So we'll see if they can maintain that. Remember, after the All-Star break last year, Arizona was really one of the better teams in the league. And there were a lot of people, myself included, saying, hey, Antti Raanta deserves some legitimate consideration for Vezina. And this year, it looks like Darcy Kemper might be capable of going on a run that is just as unexpected as the one Raanta went on. The Arizona Coyotes are 23-23-4. They're 6-2-2 in their last 10. They lost their last game going into the break. On the road, they're 14-11-1 versus the West. They're also 14-11-1. Better against the West than against the East. Better on the road than at home. San Jose's 29-16-7. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They won their last game. At home, they're 17-4-4, and versus the West, they're 18-8-3. So the numbers favor San Jose, but being a division matchup, and I kind of like Arizona's chances in this one, to be honest, but we'll see. Leading scorers for Arizona, Keller, 11 goals, 24 assists. Ekman-Larsson, 6 goals, 20 assists. Galchenyuk, 8 goals, 17 assists. Schmaltz, 7 goals, 18 assists. Stepan, 10 goals, 13 assists. Panik, 10 goals, 11 assists. Hinostroza, 7 goals, 11 assists. Goligoski, 2 goals, 15 assists. Richardson, 11 goals, 5 assists. And Cousins rounds out your top 10 with 5 goals and 11 assists for the Coyotes. On the San Jose side, Burns still leads them in scoring, 9 goals, 46 assists. Couture, 19 goals, 28 assists. Meyer, 19 goals, 27 assists. Pavelski, 27 goals, 18 assists. Hurdle, 22 goals, 23 assists. Erik Karlsson, who is likely not to play in this game, and they're being kind of secretive of what's going on with him. He has 3 goals and 40 assists. Evander Kane, 21 goals, 21 assists. LeBanc, 5 goals, 25 assists. Donskoy, 14 goals and 10 assists. And Joe Thornton, who's playing hurt, and they're admitting he's playing hurt, 10 goals, 15 assists. Goaltenders, I expect Darcy Kemper for the reasons I outlined earlier for the Arizona Coyotes. Pickard's 4-3-2 with a 3.78 goals against, 869 save percentage, whereas Kemper's 11-11-4, 2.63 goals against, 914 save percentage. On the San Jose side, you got to give Jones a start. You have to. He's 23-10-4. Great record. Stop there. Nope. 2.98 goals against, 895 save percentage. Those numbers just, they don't work. If he puts up those numbers, they make the playoffs. He puts up those numbers, they're out in the first round. Dell's 6-6-3, 3.11 goals against, 891 save percentage. So San Jose's goaltending and defense both have to get better. Or again, as I said, they could find themselves being an early victim of an upset in the playoffs. I like San Jose. I do see them as being a contender, but I will not rate them as a contender going into the playoffs with those numbers. Just not going to happen. That has got to get better. And for Arizona, if they're going to stay relevant in the hunt, they have to win games like this. They have to go out on the road and they have to win games like this because at home, their record is middling. And it's not good enough at home. They have to be fantastic on the road and good at home if this is going to work out for them. All right, next up. Anaheim and Winnipeg in a battle of the absolute opposites of the alphabetical scale in the NHL. The Ducks 21-21-9. They're 2-6-2 in their last 10. They've lost their last 2. On the road, they're 11-13-1 versus the West. They're 10-12-3. Let's just say it. Anaheim for the last month and a half have been pretty bad. And this is a chance for them to turn things around and against a Winnipeg team that's been playing pretty well. They're 33-16-2. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 2 in a row. At home, they're 19-6-2. And versus the West, they're 20-10-1. And yes, Winnipeg's won some games out of those 7 out of 10 that they were lucky to win, but they're wins. And it does look like Hellebuck is rounding back into form. Now, scoring leaders for Anaheim, it seems like an oxymoron, really. It doesn't seem like it works. Getzlaf's 10 goals and 23 assists leads the team in scoring, which is lowest on the board. We've got Arizona here and LA here, and that's the lowest. Henrique, 9 goals, 18 assists. Raquel, 8 goals, 16 assists. They desperately need Rickard Raquel to return to that 30-goal form. He's not going to get 30 goals this year, but that form of the regular goal scoring. Montour, 5 goals, 19 assists. Ritchie, 6 goals, 15 assists. Kasha, 11 goals, 9 assists. Silverberg, 12 goals, 7 assists. Lindholm, 4 goals, 15 assists. Devon Shore, 5 goals, 13 assists. And Sprong has 8 goals and 8 assists to round out your top 10 for Anaheim, the Anaheim Ducks. In against the Jets, whose leading scorer is Blake Wheeler, 9 goals, 54 assists for him. Scheifele, 26 goals, 36 assists. Kyle Connor, their current MVP, 22 goals, 19 assists. Not for the season, but over the last month and a half. Laine still stuck at 25 goals, 9 assists, and in every headline about the Jets right now seems to be about Laine, which again isn't fair to Connor, but that's kind of the way it works. Little, 11 goals, 20 assists. Bufflin, 4 goals, 25 assists. Ehlers, 15 goals, 12 assists. Morrissey, 6 goals, 21 assists. Trouba, 4 goals, 22 assists. And Tanev, 11 goals, 9 assists. Rounds out your top 10. I do wonder if we're going to see a new name in there soon, because with Brassard being traded, who Winnipeg was reportedly coveting, they may want to make a move sooner rather than later. If there's another player that they have their eye on, they may be calling that team and going, hey, we want that guy now, because they don't want to see him get traded somewhere else. Or they may be calling Florida and saying, so, Brassard, what do you want? We can work this out. Goaltenders, I expect Gibson, because it's Anaheim. Johnson's 2-9, 3.28 goals against, 889 save percentage. Haven't heard anything about Miller coming back. Gibson, 17, 16, and 8, 2.74 goals against, 919 save percentage. On the Winnipeg side, I expect Hellebuck. He's 23, 14, and 1. 2.85 goals against, 910 save percentage. Brossoit would be the backup, 10-2 and 1, 2.09 goals against, 940 save percentage. So what impresses me with the Jets is this. I don't think they're playing the best hockey they have all season, but they're winning a lot. And I do think that they'll round into form. And I do think that while Laine's 1 goal in 13 games is problematic, you can't get around it, he's due for another scoring burst. He's due for another 12 goals in a month kind of burst. And if he can do that, who knows? Maybe Winnipeg finds themselves set up as maybe the number 1 team in the West, which I know would be a fight between them and likely Calgary. Who thought we'd see Calgary and the Jets at the top? Not very many people would have picked that. I know there are a few, mainly Flames fans, but they're out there. All right, next up, LA and the Islanders. This is a lopsided matchup, isn't it? Yeah, this is a lopsided matchup. The LA Kings, who can't score against the New York Islanders, who don't allow goals. The LA Kings, 26 and 4. They're 4-5 and 1 in their last 10. They did win their last game going into the break. On the road, they're 8-13 and 3, and versus the East, they're 6-11 and 2. So those numbers are problematic. They're in against the Islanders, who are 29-15 and 6. They're 6-2 and 2 in their last 10. They have lost 2 in a row. At home, they're 14-7 and 4. Versus the West, they're 10-8 and 1. And of course, that most recent loss was a shootout loss against the Tampa Bay Lightning of 1-0. You'll take that one. That showed that the New York Islanders can hang with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I like what that shows us the Islanders can do. And also because Pittsburgh and Washington won tonight, and the Islanders only got the 1 point, it keeps things all nice and tightly bunched together in the Metro, and we don't really know where things are going to end up. We just know it's going to be fun getting there. Leading scorers for the Kings, well, it's Kopitar with 14 goals and 20 assists. Brown, 12 goals, 17 assists. Doughty, 5 goals, 23 assists. Carter, 10 goals, 15 assists. Iafallo, 10 goals, 12 assists. Kovalchuk, in 40 games, has 9 goals and 13 assists now. I don't know what you're going to do with Kovalchuk, but I don't see how this marriage lasts beyond this year. I foresee another retirement for Kovalchuk. I'm not trying to be funny or facetious either. Toffoli, 8 goals, 12 assists. Kempe, 5 goals, 8 assists. Leipzig, 4 goals, 9 assists. And Martinez rounds out your top 10 with 3 goals and 8 assists. On the Islanders side, Barzal, 14 goals, 31 assists. Lee, 18 goals, 19 assists. Bailey, 11 goals, 26 assists. Nelson, 16 goals, 15 assists. Eberle, 11 goals, 12 assists. Filppula, 11 goals, 10 assists. Cizikas, 11 goals, 9 assists. Beauvillier, 12 goals, 7 assists. Pulock, 3 goals, 16 assists. And Leddy with a goal and 17 assists. Rounds out a top 10. That doesn't change at all because nobody scored. I really should just record these things when I do them on my phone. And then if they're shut out, I could just go, oh, this is my sound file, my audio file for this team. And then just play it. And just look at you and just go, yeah, nothing's changed. It's fine, I can do this. Goaltending. Things have changed a bit here. I expect Jonathan Quick. He's 9-12-3, 2.97 goals against, 904 save percentage, which would make Jack Campbell the backup at 6-9, 2.19 goals against, 930 save percentage. I expect Robin Leonard, after the amazing performance by Grace tonight. Grace is 14-8-2 now with a 2.39 goals against, 924 save percentage. Leonard's 15-7-4, 2.02 goals against, 931 save percentage. Whew, those numbers are intimidating. And if they can keep those up, who knows where they go in the playoffs. Because goaltending can still steal you at least a series. Next up, St. Louis. So the Blues and the Blue Jackets are in a matchup of the blue teams. And for the Blues, this is an important game. So going into the break, they've been looking pretty good, those St. Louis Blues. Like, maybe they've got a shot after all. With where the West was at, how things were going with Western teams, yeah, St. Louis. Why not St. Louis? 22-22-5 is the record. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They won their last game. On the road, they're 10-9-3, and versus the East, they're 9-7-1. So they're above 500 against the East. That's encouraging. Columbus is 28-19-3. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They've lost 4 in a row. John Tortorella has to be losing his mind with the way these guys are playing right now. And it's getting harder for him in interviews not to say it. And believe me, he hasn't been unhinged yet. He's close, but he hasn't been unhinged yet. They're 14-10-2 at home, and they're 9-7-2 versus the West. St. Louis's leading scorer, of course, is Ryan O'Reilly at 18 goals, 32 assists. Perron, 17 goals, 18 assists. Tarasenko, 17 goals, 15 assists. Schenn, 9 goals, 18 assists. Dunn, 5 goals, 16 assists. Schwartz, 3 goals, 18 assists for him. You expect a little more out of him, to be honest. Bozak, 7 goals, 12 assists. Pietrangelo, 5 goals, 14 assists. With Toronto picking up Muzzin, they're likely out of the Pietrangelo sweepstakes. But are they trading Pietrangelo? If they see themselves in the running, probably not. Sundqvist, 10 goals, 6 assists. Steen, 6 goals, 9 assists for Steen. And he's a guy that I could see going at the deadline, only because if they can get something back for him, I think they'll do it. On the Columbus side, Panarin, 20 goals, 37 assists. One of the most talked about guys in the league, of course. Atkinson, 28 goals, 22 assists. Dubois, 18 goals, 27 assists. Jones, 7 goals, 24 assists. Werenski, 9 goals, 18 assists. Murray, 1 goal, 24 assists for him. Anderson, 16 goals, 8 assists. Boone Jenner, 9 goals, 12 assists. And Wenberg, 1 goal, 19 assists. Rounds out your top 10 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Goaltending. Why not Binnington? He's 5-1-1, 1.84 goals against, 924 save percentage. We talk a lot about Carter Hart, and rightfully so, but Binnington's been just as big a story for St. Louis, and they're closer to the playoffs than Philly. Allen's 15-15-4, 3.04 goals against, 897 save percentage. Jake Allen I could absolutely see getting moved at the deadline if the right deal comes along. Would not entirely surprise me to see a change of scenery for Allen. You look at what it's done for Leonard going to the Islanders. Allen being moved at this stage could absolutely help turn his season and his career around. And they're in against Columbus, who's got Bobrovsky, who likely is available. 19-16-1, 3.01 goals against, 901 save percentage. Would not be surprised to see Korpisalo start tomorrow just because that'd be kind of fun. He's 9-3-2, 2.95 goals against. Also has a 901 save percentage. So if we're looking at just sheer numbers, you don't really lose anything going with Korpisalo, and they seem to win more often. So it'll be very interesting to watch what Columbus does tomorrow, because again, the pressure's on them. Pittsburgh and Washington win. The Islanders picked up a point tonight. The pressure's on Columbus to keep pace. All right, that being said, as my voice threatens to go, last game of the night that we're looking at is Tampa and the New York Rangers. So the Tampa Bay Lightning coming off of a pretty tough challenge from the New York Islanders, now going to the New York Rangers. And while the Rangers are nowhere near the Islanders in the standings, they're pretty tough at home most of the time. Whereas Tampa's pretty excellent on the road most of the time. And versus the East, Tampa's intimidating. The Lightning are 38-11-2 now. 6-4 record. They've won their last game. They have 78 points. Think about that. They have 78 points. They need 22 points in their next 31 games. So they need to win 11 out of 31 to get to 100 points. Yeah. So again, with the Tampa Bay Lightning, if you see a drop in their play and their intensity, I would not be entirely surprised. The motivation at this point should be, let's just make sure we get home ice. Let's make sure that we're healthy. Let's make sure we're doing things right. If we lose games here and there, it's not a big deal. We're good. They're 18-6-2 on the road, and they're 25-5 versus the East. Absolutely deadly versus the East. The Islanders, that's as close a challenge as you're going to see them get for the most part, but good showing anyways. They did have 40 shots in that game. Grace just stopped everything. On the Rangers side, they're 22-21-7. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They won their last game at home, 13-7-5 versus the East. They're 12-13-4. Youch. Leading scorers, of course, Kucherov, who, despite being held off the board, still your leading scorer in the NHL. He's only 4 points clear now of Patrick Kane. 22 goals, 57 assists. Point, 30 goals, 35 assists. Stamkos, 27 goals, 31 assists. Johnson, 18 goals, 16 assists. These numbers didn't change from the preview yesterday. 7 goals, 27 assists. No, preview this morning. Gourde, 12 goals, 18 assists. Miller, 8 goals, 20 assists. McDonough, 5 goals, 22 assists. Killorn, 11 goals, 15 assists. And Palat, 7 goals, 13 assists. Rounds out your top 10 for the Tampa Bay Lightning. On the Rangers side, Zibanejad, 20 goals, 28 assists. He's been fantastic lately. Kreider, 23 goals, 15 assists. Hayes, 10 goals, 25 assists. Zuccarello has been playing very well lately as well. 8 goals, 19 assists. Vesey, 11 goals, 13 assists. Pionk, 5 goals, 15 assists. Hedl, 9 goals, 9 assists. Fast, 7 goals, 10 assists. Buchnevich, is he staying? Are they going to trade him? What's going to happen with Buchnevich? 9 goals, 7 assists. Nemesnikov, who also I think is on his way out of town, 4 goals, 12 assists for him. Goaltending, I expect Demang, because Vasilevsky started tonight. Demang 16-4, 2.99 goals against, 905 save percentage. Vasilevsky's 21-7-2, 2.46 goals against, 925 save percentage. So Demang's got a better winning percentage than does Vasilevsky. So your odds of winning go down when they go to their backup. That's how good Tampa is. And Lundqvist has been confirmed for the Rangers. Georgiev will be the backup at 6-9, 3.28 goals against, 897 save percentage. Lundqvist 16-12-7, 3.01 goals against average, and a 907 save percentage for the New York Rangers. So this should be a pretty solid matchup. But I like Tampa in that one. I kind of sort of do. Because Tampa just wins. It's what they do all the time. They had a rougher January than they had any other month during the year. I expect them to just ride it out in February and magically end up with about 125 points this year. I can't see the 130, but 125 I could see. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm going to drink about a gallon of water now because I've been talking for 48 minutes and 30 seconds. But yeah, thank you guys so much for sticking with this. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing Race 3. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.